right now on 7 Action News.
New information on who failed to prevent the tragedy at the fair, but why we still don't know the cause and who's at fault over the deadly stage collapse. Plus, a missing persons case that started in June has now led police to a field found with human remains. Could this be a connection to the case of missing grandmother Dorothy Hurd? Also, No Child Left Behind is no more in Indiana.
Today, I am pleased to announce that we are giving 10 states, the first 10 states, the green light to continue making the reforms that are best for them.
What Governor Daniels says about President Obama's new move. And bus on fire.
That bus driver should be commended for she was cool as a cucumber and got all the kids off the bus.
How the actions of this quick-thinking bus driver saved the day and why she's now being called a hero.
Now in HD, this is 7 Action News at 7.
At the conclusion of our 6-month investigation, we have issued 3 safety orders to different entities. The Indiana State Fair Commission, Mid-America Sound Corporation, who owned and erected the temporary load-bearing roof structure, and Indiana Local Number 30 of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, including Theatrical Payroll Services, Inc., for whom the stagehand that constructed the roof structure worked.
We now have new information about the deadly stage collapse at the Indiana State Fair last year. Good evening to you. I'm Cameron Ridle. The Indiana Occupational Health and Safety Administration is partially blaming 3 organizations for the disaster that left 7 people dead and dozens hurt. The agency fined the State Fair Commission more than $6,000 for failing to have a severe weather plan in place and for not having a proper safety check. The local stagehand union was also cited and hit with an $11,000 fine. But it was Mid-America Soundcheck Corporation that got the heftiest fine, $63,000. IOSHA said the company showed plain indifference to safety standards. The State Fair Commission says it was Sugarland who had the say on whether or not to postpone the show due to weather conditions. And after being advised to do so several times, Sugarland insisted to go on with the show because they wanted to make sure that they could get to the Iowa State Fair on time. The contract between the State Fair and Sugarland backs up the State Fair Commission's statement on who had the power to cancel or delay the concert. But IOSHA says as far as occupational health and safety is concerned, the State Fair is at fault.
Sugarland was not fined because they have a different set of duties. They were not the venue host. They did not have employees up in the roof where there are fall protection issues. They were a performer, and so they did not come under the ANSI standard in our determination.
IOSHA's report examined workplace violations, but it was not aimed at determining what caused the collapse. As for which group failed to do their job in delaying the show, that is being determined as international engineering firm Thornton Tomasetti is conducting an investigation of the rigging collapse, and National Emergency Planning Advisors, Witt Associates, are reviewing the state's emergency plans and its response to the collapse. 7 Action News will stay with this story. Medical examiners are working to identify remains found in a northern Indiana field. Police believe they could belong to 74-year-old Dorothy Hurd of Noblesville. They found the remains Thursday in a nearby Marion field. Hurd has been missing for nearly 8 months. Her nephew, 47-year-old Donald Burns, was arrested after her disappearance when police say he tried to run from officers who just wanted to question him. He has not been charged. Students here in Indiana will soon be learning a whole new way. Today, President Obama announced that he's exempting 10 states from some of the mandates of the controversial No Child Left Behind law.
Today, I am pleased to announce that we are giving 10 states, the first 10 states, the green light to continue making the reforms that are best for them. Each of these states has set higher benchmarks for student achievement. They've come up with ways to evaluate and support teachers fairly, based on more than just a set of test scores.
Indiana is one of the 10 states to receive a waiver from the Obama administration to no longer follow some of the No Child Left Behind requirements. Those states won't have to meet the targets set. The No Child Left Behind law says students have to be proficient in math and reading by 2014. Now, the states have to raise standards and improve accountability, themselves. Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels says he's glad for the flexibility.
I think No Child Left Behind in general is a good bill, but it had some flaws. And since the Congress wasn't able to rewrite it, the administration has allowed some states that are out front in education reform to have some extra leeway, and we appreciate they're doing that. One of the new provisions they've allowed Indiana to do is what we call our growth model. So we'll be measuring teachers and schools on whether the kids grew a year, regardless where they started. Did they learn at least a year while they were there? I think that's a lot more fair, and the administration agreed.
President George W. Bush signed the No Child Left Behind Act into law in January 2002. The law was designed to hold schools accountable for their students' progress. The primary measurements are annual statewide administered standardized test here in Indiana called ISTEP for grades 3 through 8th in math and reading. Well, if you were lucky enough to attend the Super Bowl events in Indianapolis last week, you may need to see a doctor. The Indiana State Department of Health says an unknown number of people were exposed to measles at Super Bowl Village. Officials say an infected person with measles visited the village sometime last week. So far, there have been 2 confirmed cases of measles in Indiana. Now remember, measles is not usually fatal, but can cause high fever, cough, and a rash on the neck and face. Most Americans are vaccinated for measles as children. The man accused of killing Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Officer David Moore has asked prosecutors to drop the death penalty against him. Prosecutors said 61-year-old Thomas Hardy used a handgun to shoot and kill Officer Moore during a traffic stop in January of 2011. Hardy's attorney filed a motion to have the death penalty dismissed on the grounds that the ballistics test conducted by the state indicated that the gun was defective. The defense also cites serious credibility issues with a key prosecution witness. Hardy was arrested at the home of a woman named Penny Torrance, who, according to the defense, has been arrested as many as 85 times, used 6 aliases, and was paid at least $500 by a detective for information after Hardy's arrest. Prosecutors said they weren't deterred by this information. A hearing was scheduled for March 21st to thoroughly examine the gun evidence and the credibility of Torrance.
Coming up on 7 Action News.
An afternoon bus ride goes up in flames, literally. How the children on the bus made it to safety. Plus, a drop pass by New England in the Super Bowl that probably cost the Patriots the game is being remembered with candy. Why the slippery moment won't soon slip from the memory of the New England Patriots. And winter is returning, frigid temperatures and snow is in your forecast. Meteorologist Paul Poteet has the details coming up. Stay tuned. You're watching 7 Action News.
Hey, Paula, happy anniversary.
Rob, I'm a little busy right now.
I'm talking about the 20th anniversary.
Can't you see I'm busy? We've got a newscast to do in a little bit.
Oh, come on now. 20 years live, overnight news, fun, smart, a little bit of attitude.
Now I know what you're talking about, the 20th anniversary of World News Now, and we should do a promo.
Now you're seeing the whole picture.
And that's a great line to use in the promo.
We need a promo, big one.
We do need a promo.
Hey,
we need a promo.
This has been the ABC World News Now 20th anniversary promo. Sleep is overrated.
Join the conversation. Follow Cameron on Twitter.
Look closer. Behind a picture.
So many people suffering, hoping for jobs to come back.
We're now in a position where we're starting to come back.
Why didn't this happen in the first 3 years?
And you'll see lives affected, American jobs at stake.
How many new jobs can you create and how soon?
In a year like this, you don't want to just be talked at. You want answers. And that's where she comes in.
Diane!
ABC World News with Diane Sawyer. Watch and you'll see the whole picture.
Stocks were a little changed today as the Greek debt talks drag on. The Dow Industrials gained nearly 6 points, closed at 12,833, and the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ also edged higher. A setback on the road for profitability for the nation's 3rd largest wireless carrier, but it comes with a silver lining. Sprint sold a better than expected 1.8 million iPhones late last year, 40% of them to new customers, but the company recorded a fourth quarter loss of $1.3 billion, partly due to the cost to subsidize the smartphone. Another indication that the nation's housing crisis may be easing. According to a report from the economic research firm of CoreLogic, the number of homes in foreclosure declined by 8.4% last year. The firm's chief economic cites a number of reasons, including the slower pace at which properties are entering the foreclosure process. After 42 years on the local scene, the Shamrock Shake is making its national debut. McDonald's announced that its minty green milkshakes will be available at all of its 14,000 U.S. restaurants through late March. That is a look at dollars and cents. In Your Voice, Your Vote tonight, Republican presidential contender Rick Santorum is on Indiana's primary ballot, even though he has not been certified by local election officials. Indiana Election Division co-director Brad King said that the Santorum campaign filed Wednesday morning to get on the ballot. The Santorum team is disputing a decision by Marion County officials last week that he fell 24 signatures short of the number required. Santorum will make it on the state's ballot unless a registered voter files a challenge before February 17th. The four-member election division would then have until March 1st to rule on the challenge. The primary will be held May 8th statewide. Candidates for office have to collect 500 signatures from registered voters in each of Indiana's 9 congressional districts. Santorum managed to clear the hurdle in 8 of the districts, but fell short in District 7. The Santorum campaign contests that 49 signatures were wrongly disqualified by Marion County's Board of Voter Registration. Indiana's primary will be held on May 8th. Democratic candidate for governor of Indiana, John Gregg, has turned in 7,800 signatures from supporters to get his name on Indiana's ballot. Gregg filed Thursday in downtown Indianapolis. U.S. Representative Mike Pence filed about 13,000 signatures Monday and could be the only Republican to be in the race after Fisher's businessman Jim Wallace said he came up 111 signatures short of the number needed to make it on the ballot. Still to come, a school bus loaded with children catches on fire, how everyone got off the bus before it was turned into a 40-foot inferno.
Tonight at 11 on 7 Action News.
The Super Bowl is gone, but 35,000 pounds of uneaten food is here to stay. How Super Bowl leftovers are being turned into super meals tonight.
After a week on Good Morning America, what's George Stephanopoulos doing this election year to unwind on Sunday mornings? Well, he's going back to work, because in a year like this, with so much at stake, who better to get straight to the bottom line with the candidates and make sense of it all for you than George. Don't settle for just seeing one side of the political picture or the other. See the whole picture, and that's where he comes in. This week with George Stephanopoulos, Sunday mornings on ABC.
Friday, what would you do if you heard a pregnant woman?
It's a boy.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Lying to her boyfriend about being the baby's father.
She told this boy that he's the father, but he's not.
Would you keep her secret or tell the boyfriend?
I think he deserves to know the truth.
It's an hour so emotional, so personal.
Oh my God.
We just had to step in.
So the question is, what would you do?
All new Friday at 9/8 Central, followed by 2020 on ABC.
A Charlotte, North Carolina bus driver gets her students off the bus just moments before it bursts into flames. Now she's being held a hero for her quick thinking and cool head. But as Amy Kalman tells us, the bus driver says she was only doing her job.
The smoke was coming from this area, from down below the steering column, like rising up.
For the first time in 5 years, CMS bus driver Lindora Richardson knew she and the kids she was driving were in danger.
The smell was wrong, because I know, like, being on the bus, we have to get on and check for smells and leaks and stuff.
So she stopped the bus and acted fast.
Because you don't want to, like, be hysterical and make them hysterical. So yes, you know, I was calm.
She told the kids to get their stuff, and then
I opened the emergency door and I secured the door. And came down and ushered each kid down until I got them all off the bus.
And off to safety. Around that time, Dennis Benning was taking his child home from school.
Just as I drove by it, I could see a drop of oil just with a little flame to it.
He owns Jet Media Production Company, and once he knew everyone was safe, grabbed his flip camera and captured these amazing pictures.
It looked like something you'd see on TV. It looked, you know, you're waiting for the big explosion, and so that's why I kept my distance.
He saw Richardson and the 6 kids who were on the bus and says considering what had just happened, it was a very calm scene.
That bus driver should be commended for she was cool as a cucumber and got all the kids off the bus.
Richardson says she doesn't see herself as a hero.
I don't think so. This is part of my job description.
She just thanks God her and the kids made it out safely.
Just grateful to be here to do my job again the next day.
We know how it feels. Right now, there's so much information coming at us, it's almost dizzying. But what if there was one place committed to making sense of it all? Committed to connecting the dots for you. Breaking things down. Not just talking at you, but making things clear. Less confusion, more understanding. That's the promise every day of ABC News. Watch and you'll see the whole picture.
This is ABC 7. Start here.
Finally tonight, an online pawn shop dropped 1,000 Butterfinger candy bars in Boston yesterday. It was a sweet treat for people who got to pick up some, but it was really a mock fest. The company was making commentary on Wes Welker's drop in the Super Bowl. The Patriots receivers' missed opportunity came 4 minutes before the end of Sunday's big game and contributed to their loss. Like Welker, Pongo's drop came at a price. The city said it was charging the company for a fine for illegal commercial dumping. And that is 7 Action News at 7. We thank you for joining us. Remember, we are coming back for more news with the Nightcast at 11. You should too. Until then, I'm Cameron Little. Have a good night. How Super Bowl leftovers are being turned into super meals tonight at 11.